Atlanta, season 3. Last
Ooh-wee.
episode aired this past weekend, and Atlanta is a show that we love for performances. We love for the way it tells stories and conceptualizes things. And Atlanta this season was just like, we know you love us for this, but we're just going to do it our way. And this season, I think, challenged a lot of people.
Oh,
It definitely
did.
challenged me at points. And I'm wondering, did you leave this season being like, Atlanta is still top tier, or are you like, maybe they took a step back this time?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I think Atlanta is the bona fides have been established. We both had this show in our best shows of the decade, even though we only had seen 2 seasons of said show. Season 1 and 2 are certified in that regard. And season 3 is super challenging. I think the show's still got it. Whether you're satisfied and directly entertained can be 2 different things, and I think the effectiveness of what you watch really depends on what lens you're approaching Atlanta season 3. By far the most polarizing season of the series, most unpredictable season of the series. I think, in a sense, I appreciate the creativity because, from what we understand, Lakeith Stanfield, Brian Tyree Henry, Donald Glover, Zazie Beetz, they're all stars now. They are busy fucking people. So they couldn't be together as much as they could in the past season. So, in a sense, this was their workaround. I don't know if I necessarily expected to see 3 complete one-off episodes and then a bunch of other basically like non sequiturs around like one character. It's not that like a non sequitur or something that seems insignificant is new to Atlanta. Of course it is. We don't watch Al become the biggest rapper in Atlanta. It's all off screen. We haven't watched Al become an international rap star either. That's also happened on screen with this season. It's all about these other little interludes. That's what's interesting to them. And yeah, I think this is a very fascinating season because I definitely didn't expect it to go this way.
Me neither. Pretty much like every other episode was this non-main crew episode that was exploring these one-off stories, whether it's the Robert S. Lee High School Rich Wigger Poor Wigger episode, whether it was them exploring uh, what was it in like the early season.
They had the one with about reparations with Justin Bartha.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Yes. So that one. I mean, they really were trying to go for something, right? Even the beginning of the season starts off with none of the main characters, but this story about black people being killed in that lake in Atlanta that I'm totally blanking on as well. But they really tried a lot of stuff, but it did take you away from the parts that really make the show, I think, hum and great. If you were getting Seinfeld without Jerry and George together for multiple episodes on end, or if you were getting Elaine just singularly with other characters that we don't know, you're going to kind of be like, well, I don't know. This isn't why I watch Seinfeld. And I'm not saying that this made the season of Atlanta bad, but it just wasn't what I wanted. And that's, I think, what the show was really trying to get at this season. I suspect season 4 will be more of the gang together as the final season, and I assume that they've probably thought about what they want to say about Atlanta in general as a place and what it means to them. But this season, they really were like, "Yep, we're not going to give you anything that you really want," and it was definitely challenging at times, but still a lot of really memorable moments. So I think there's a lot to still like.
Yeah. Because I think they're still going and trying to comment and say things the way they do in typical Atlanta fashion. It's just, as you said, you're not getting it in the way you expect. We have these 4 characters, these 4 performers that have really high approval ratings. Brian Tyree Henry, one of the best actors working right now, full stop. That's beyond a doubt, I think, at this point. Lakeith as well, right up there. But I would rather see them give these comments off, right, than these one-off episodes. I think there's still tons of moments of brilliance when you do see our core cast in spurts. I thought the new Jazz episode was brilliant. The way they bring in Liam Neeson playing himself in the Cancel Club,
What a
complete
moment.
heel turning at the end too. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah, and
They get such buy-in from their guests, whether it's Neeson or
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård in the finale, obviously.
Chet Hanks just basically like being himself in it. I was like, damn, they're all really in on it. And yeah, just to talk about the Neeson thing, he very much could have used this as like a way to kind of like walk back things and be
Yeah,
like, yeah, I
launder
learned
his
from it.
personality for black
And
people.
when he
Yeah,
takes that turn in his monologue where he's like, "No, I can't stand a lot of you," my mouth literally dropped to the floor. I was like, "Liam Neeson is on TV saying this on like one of the most
yeah,
popular shows." Like, and I get that that episode was kind of framed as like a drug induced dream
right.
for
Classic
uh
Amsterdam.
yeah, for Alfred. But man, that moment. I just like literally couldn't believe it. I thought that was incredible.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think this season did rely a lot on like some of those guest appearances, though. Like you mentioned the Skarsgård one. What was your temperature on that?
Yeah, I thought the Skarsgård performance again. You have such buy-in. Like he's playing a guy who gets off on being like completely negged by his girlfriend, right? Literally jerking off after what happens to him. It's like
Hmm.
dancing in underwear and stuff. It's like it's really fun to see Skarsgård just play a weirdo like that, but playing himself, playing the weirdo. Um, a bit more of on the provocation side of things is in the Rich Wigga episode. You have Kevin Samuels coming in, obviously a very polarizing, recently passed figures, probably much more, I think, well known in the black community than in general culture. But having him be the one who's like being the benefactor for all black students at the school, it's like, oh wow, but you have Kevin Samuels being the one
Hmm.
expounding that. Interesting, thought provoking, I suppose. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think in overall, I like these guys. Even Justin Bartha, nice to see him. Obviously,
Hmm.
shout out The
Yeah.
Hangover. Um, in the reparations episode, I thought he did a really good job, and I thought that was my favorite of the one-off episodes, pretty easily, because I thought it was definitely really thought provoking. Obviously, I think us watching it as white people definitely probably have a different reaction than other people watching it, people of color, black people for sure. But like watching them like play out this like reparations scenario in this way, it's like wow. It's just I think like the whole Donald Glover, Stephen Glover, Stephanie Robinson creative force with this show. At the end of the day, they're making you think a lot, but they managed to get thematically even I think bigger with this series, or at least switch it up a little bit. Blackness has been a huge aspect of the first two seasons,
Hmm.
and how blackness affects these characters and how they interface in the world. They take it a step further in season three because it's almost more about how whiteness affects people in the world, both white people, and also how it affects black people, and usually how it affects people negatively. And I was really impressed with how they kind of thematically kind of like took that next step forward in this regard, especially in a series that, like you said, often feels more like the Twilight Zone than it
Yeah.
does Atlanta season 1 and 2. So I think there's a lot to admire here, and it definitely increases my anticipation for season 4 because I want to see what the hell it is.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm very interested to see. I mean, it's hard to predict anything with this show, but we do get a bit of a stinger at the end where the white Ernest Marks, Ern gets a bag for the white Ernest Marks, and it very much feels like a horror vibe to it.
Mm,
So I feel like there's going to be something about that dynamic that's probably going to be a running through line. But I also have to suspect, kind of like I was mentioning before, that in this fourth season, they're going to probably not be in Europe. I
I
imagine
think
that they
so.
have to go back to Atlanta, and I also imagine that they have to kind of like try to tie together why the show is called Atlanta and what it really means. Then what it's supposed to symbolize in terms of blackness and race politics. In terms of what they're going for in the show. I one of the episodes that really stands out to me is that one where they're having the party. I think it was the old man in the tree, episode
Oh,
3.
I love that one. That was great. That was the most
Great
classic
episode.
Atlanta episode, traditional one, I
Yes,
think.
and I loved almost what everybody was doing there. But the aspect that I found to be most interesting was the rich guy who was funding. the black artist who everybody thought was just terrible, and they were like, "Yeah, like we know, but like, why
Get
are
the
you gonna
bag, bro.
spoil this for us?" Exactly. And that was I think one of the things that I found most appealing about this season in terms of the main characters was you see Ern become competent, which is really nice, and you also
Yeah.
see him and his relationship with Alfred really growing. After Alfred has that fever dream, he asked him who has his masters. Now it's a bit on the nose, and it's maybe not the most creative writing that the show has ever done, but it really is I think an important moment to like build the connection between these characters, and you kind of
Mm,
get some of those moments between Darius and Van earlier in the season as they're kind of gallivanting around parts of Europe together as Alfred and Ern are doing some of their own stuff. So I thought it was nice to see the character development when we got it. Just wish we got more of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Are you ready to wrap up?
In all likelihood, we'll be talking about season 4 later in this year. They shot these back to back. They said it's coming out this year, so probably in the fall, I'd have to imagine. So it's been a hell of a run, and can't wait to see what's next. I don't think they're going out on a low note, that's for sure. So we'll be highly anticipating that.